The clerk of court is not completely credible as a witness. Ms. Hill was attracted by the siren call of celebrity. She wanted to write a book about the trial and expressed that as early as November 2022, long before the trial began. Did clerk of court Hill's comments have any impact on the verdict of the jury? I find that the answer to this question is no. Each member of this jury took their involuntary assignment very seriously. They obeyed the instructions of the court. They obeyed their oath. These good and decent citizens of Colleton County stood to their duty and rendered their verdict without fear or favor. I simply do not believe that the authority of our South Carolina Supreme Court requires a new trial in a very lengthy trial such as this on the strength of some fleeting and foolish comments by a publicity-influenced clerk of court. This is a matter within the discretion of the trial judge, and I am the trial judge at this moment.
As you just saw there, breaking news tonight, a motion for a new trial denied by former Chief Justice Jean Toal in the case of Alex-Murdaugh. That ruling coming in just in the last few moments.
We've got News 19 Sam Perez outside of the Richland County Courthouse with the details on today's hearing that led up to that judge's ruling. Sam.
Yeah, JR and Darcy, like you said, I'm here at the Richland County Judicial Center where less than an hour ago, Justice Toal made that key decision. She ended up deciding that defendant Alex-Murdaugh will not be getting a new trial. She said at the same time that Colleton County Clerk of Court Becky Hill, who is at the center of this, was not completely credible. She found that based on the testimony and the evidence that she heard and saw today, she decided that there were inconsistencies in what Colleton County Clerk of Court Becky Hill said. But, and for that reason says she is not credible, but at the same time said that she did not find that the jury was impacted by the statements that Hill made. Now, the prosecution issued a statement just about 10 minutes ago and said that they seek for justice in all of their cases, and they say that it is clear that Murdaugh's convictions for the murders of Maggie and Paul are, quote, based solely on the facts and evidence in the case. Now, Hill also issued a statement through her lawyers, Will Lewis and attorney Justin Bamberg, and said that they, quote, respect the ruling and agree with her finding that the jurors operated within the instructions of the court. Now, we caught up with the defense team outside of the Colleton County outside of the Richland County Judicial Center. And we also caught up with attorney Eric Bland, who represented 5 jurors in this case. So let's take a listen at what they had to say.
The law in this area is unsettled at best, and that it means it's ripe for appeal. So the facts are settled. Becky Hill's not credible. The judge found, in fact, that the statements were made to the jurors. She just found that we couldn't show prejudice, but conceded that we may not have to show that if she's wrong about the law and the law's unsettled.
You know, this is the verdict that we have. Our state supports this verdict. You saw how hard the state fought to keep this verdict, and we cannot continue to have trials go over and over again when you have jurors that hear evidence over 6.5 weeks, over 70 witnesses, over 400 pieces of evidence, get the instructions from the judge, give their time, are smart, bright people who come with their God-given common sense, render a verdict, and then are polled and raise their hand and say, this was my verdict.
And Justice Toal did emphasize to the jurors before they testified today, she said they did nothing wrong and there was no right or wrong answer to what they said today. Now, the defense did tell us that they do intend to appeal the decision. Coming up at 6 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, we will have more reactions from outside of the Judicial Center. But for now, reporting live, Sam Perez, News 19 WLTX.
Sam, before we let you go, a couple of quick questions. From closing arguments to the judge making her ruling was only about 20 minutes. Can you talk about the atmosphere within the courtroom as they waited on Judge Toal?
Absolutely. I think that, first of all, it was a little bit surprising. That's kind of what I was hearing, that we were going to get a decision tonight, because she did come back into the courtroom right at 5 o'clock, so it was a little bit later. Certainly, I think people were waiting to see what she had to say. It was a full day of testimony. I don't think that anyone knew exactly what was coming, but there was a lot of anticipation, and as she made her final ruling and explained her decision, the courtroom was completely silent.
All right, Sam Perez outside the Richland County Courthouse. Thank you so very much. Now, again, this